everyone, welcome back to another video with me today. As promised, I'm going to be talking about which offenses are going to put the most pressure on our new look defensive line. Now let me get it straight. We're going to take these offenses head on, period. Okay, we're shutting them down. I'm just letting you guys know which one's going to provide the biggest challenge, but these are challenges we're willing to accept and we will accept them. Now first, let's get this intro out of the way. Okay guys, week 3, Cincinnati Bengals. Now, how did the Cincinnati Bengals end up on my biggest challenges for the defensive line? That's because of Joe Burrow. Okay, week 3, facing Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is going to have something to prove. Okay, we already know he's a very accurate pocket passer, very poised, patient, accurate. Those are 3 things you don't want to see in a quarterback when you're the opposing defense. So Joe Burrow is going to come in swinging. He's going to have something to prove, and he's going to be locked in, especially early in the season when the haters are ready to be out and be like, is he a bust? Is he a bust? So Joe Burrow is definitely somebody our defensive line is going to have to be prepared to put a stop to early. Week 4, the Eagles will be in San Francisco, and the defensive line will be put in for a test. Okay, let me tell you guys why. The San Francisco 49ers had the number 2 rushing offense last season, averaging about 144 yards per game. That's a whole lot of rushing yards, y'all. They added Trent Williams to the offensive line to replace Staley, and they also have Raheem Mostert, who had 772 yards last season. He will have to be stopped, especially early in the season when those running backs are full of energy. You know what I'm saying? Later in the season, their gas is a little bit puttering. But week 4, that is a running back we're going to have to be watching out for. That is an offensive line we're going to have to be ready to attack, and especially with Jimmy Garoppolo. You guys all know he loves to hand that ball off and stay in that pocket, so he is somebody we're going to have to get out of pocket. Okay. Week 4, the Baltimore Ravens come to town. You guys all know we have to watch out for that dynamic rushing duo in Lamar Jackson plus Mark Ingram. Lamar Jackson was the number 1 rushing and passing quarterback last season. He had over 1,000 rushing yards as a quarterback. Mark Ingram was not far behind him either in rushing yards with over 1,000 as well. Also, that team had the least amount of turnovers last season. That is crazy. We definitely have to apply pressure and force those turnovers early, especially in Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson, since they are the ones handling the ball so much. The Ravens also added a running back in the draft as well. The Ravens also added J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State in the draft as well. Another running back in their arsenal that our defensive line will have to be prepared for and ready to put some fear in his heart. Okay. The New York Giants, we would definitely have to be prepared for Saquon Barkley. Okay, he will be ready to run some yards up on his division rival of the Philadelphia Eagles. The New York Giants also have Jason Garrett as our offensive coordinator now. We know how he loved to run the offense through Ezekiel Elliott, so he's probably going to, have the same, mindset when it comes to running Saquon, so we have to be prepared for him as well. Saquon averaged 77 yards per game last season and had over 1,000 rushing yards on the season. The New York Giants also added an offensive lineman, Andrew Thomas, number 4 overall in the draft, so they are prepared to protect him and Daniel Jones at all costs, so we have to be ready for that offense. Week 8, the Dallas Cowboys. Need I say more? We already know we have to watch out for Ezekiel Elliott, okay? One of the highest paid running backs in the league. The Cowboys do have a new coach in Mike McCarthy, so will the offense run through Zeke? I'm not sure. Also, Ezekiel Elliott is a very, very, very good blocker. So our defensive line has to be prepared for his blocking and running ability. Very versatile running back. The Cowboys do have a very, beefed up wide receiver group now, and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. So who knows? The offense might not run through Zeke as much, but we definitely have to be prepared for him. The Browns, yes, the Browns. Running back Nick Chubb almost had 1,500 yards last season. We must be prepared for him. He was the number 2 running back in the league, I believe, last season. Yes, he had the 2nd most rushing yards in the league last season. We have to be prepared for him. Also, the Browns drafted a tackle in the draft as well. They beefed up the offensive line by drafting a tackle, Jedrick Wills Jr., and also adding Conklin in the free agency period. So we definitely have to be prepared for that beefed up offensive line, and Nick Chubb, who's going to have a lot to prove this season because, you know, the last season the Browns did not meet expectations, so the Browns are going to be ready to prove some haters wrong this season. So our defensive line has to be ready for their new look offensive line. The Seattle Seahawks, the Eagles are 0-5 at the Lincoln Financial Field playing the Seattle Seahawks, and whoopity-doo, we play them again at home this season. We have to be ready to contain Russell Wilson. He is a very, very, very versatile quarterback. You know, he can get those rushing yards and get those first downs, so we have to be prepared to contain him, and our interior defensive line has to be ready to put the pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? Hurry him up. Can't give him all the time in the world. They were number 4 in yards per game last season. They were number 4 in yards per game last season with almost 140 yards per game. And they also beefed up their running back group. They added running back DJ Dallas in the draft. And they also have 2 other running backs that we still have to be watching out for very important reasons. Chris Carson had 1,230 yards rushing last season. That is dangerous, okay? We definitely have to be prepared to contain Chris Carson. The Eagles lock in, y'all. We got to break this streak of them beating us at the Lincoln Financial Field. That is supposed to be our home field advantage. Okay, I'm confused. The New Orleans Saints. Yes, we played them late in the season. They drafted a guard, Cesar Ruiz. They drafted a guard, Cesar Ruiz, in the draft, so they did beef up that offensive line. We also have to be prepared to contain Alvin Kamara. We already know he had almost 800 yards last season, so we have to be prepared to contain him and put pressure on Drew Brees. Drew Brees cannot have all the time in the world to make a play. He's getting old. There's no reason why he should be exposing our defensive line. Get ready, guys. We got to put pressure on them late in the season as they are looking to make another Super Bowl run. Lastly, the Arizona Cardinals, we have to put pressure on Kyler Murray, okay? Kenyon Drake and Kyler Murray combined for almost 1,300 yards last season, so we have to be prepared to stop those 2 guys late in the season. We don't want to give Kyler all the time in the day. We know he has a new weapon, you know, that the secondary is going to have to handle, and we already know he has a new weapon that the secondary is going to have to look to handle in DeAndre Hopkins, so we do not want to let it get that far. The defensive line is our first line of attack, and we want to make sure we're attacking the quarterback and getting to him and hurrying him up, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think. Were there any offenses I should have had on the list? Were there any offenses you guys think I should have left off? Let me know what you want to see me talk about in my next video. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do what you do. Bye.